When I read all the sensational articles about cryptocurrency, bitcoins, and NFTs, I'm reminded of an old story. No, not that far back. Let's rewind it a little bit. We'll take a short trip back to 17th century Netherlands. If you're interested in learning about one of the most spectacular get-rich-quick binges in history, please join me in this journey. Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, a channel dedicated to helping the sandwich generation reach financial security. Also, if you would like a free copy of my sandwich generation's guide to financial security, 10 steps to securing your family's financial future, please go to my website at financialtortoise.com and download your free copy today. I'll also have a link in the description below. In today's video, I want to discuss a little bit of history, specifically what is known today as the Tulip-Bulb Craze. It really was one of the most spectacular boom and bust in history, and I think we can learn quite a bit from it, given history tends to repeat itself. The story starts in 1593 when a newly appointed botany professor from Vienna brought to the Netherlands a collection of unusual plants, originally from Turkey. Given that it looked like no other flower native to the country, the professor was hoping to sell it for a nice profit. However, many considered it too expensive. Ironically, it eventually got stolen and was sold in the open market for a handsome profit to the thief. Over the next decade, the tulip became a popular exotic item in Dutch gardens. It symbolized wealth for the affluent. According to Liberty of Economics and Liberty, it was deemed a proof of bad taste in any man of fortune to be without a collection of tulips. These tulips, however, would succumb to a non-fatal virus known as mosaic virus strain, and it was this that helped to trigger the wild speculation in tulip bulbs. Tulips with this virus would grow with a striped, multicolored pattern rather than a single solid color. The Dutch highly valued these infected bulbs because they were considered rare and exotic. More bizarre the bulb, the higher its value. The stage was set for Tulipmania and it swept across all of the Netherlands. Tulip bulb prices began to rise wildly and it looked like there was no end in sight. The Library of Economics and Liberty writes, "The rage among Dutch to possess tulip bulbs was so great that the ordinary industry of the country was neglected and the population, even to its lowest dregs, embarked in the tulip trade." Just to give you a scale of how much these guys were selling for, it is recorded that a single bulb could be worth as much as 4,000 or even 5,500 florins. This equates to approximately $50,000 to $150,000 range in today's money, with best tulips selling for upwards of $750,000. By 1636, the demand for the tulip trade was so large that the regular markets for their sale was established on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange and other towns in the Netherlands. And more expensive the bulbs became, the more people viewed them as smart investments. Charles Mackay, who chronicled these events in his book Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, writes that the ordinary economy was essentially ignored in favor of speculation in tulip bulbs. Nobles, citizens, farmers, mechanics, seamen, footmen, maidservants, even chimney sweepers, and old clothes women dabbled in tulips. Sitting on the sideline became almost impossible. Many who said the prices could not possibly go higher watched in disbelief as their friends and neighbors got rich in what seemed like overnight. In the last few years of the spree, the craze got to a level in which people started to barter their personal belongings, such as land, home, and furniture, just to obtain some bulbs. And the ingenious financial instrument called call options just added fuel to the fire. The financial market, whether we like it or not, is quite spectacular when you think about it. When there is a demand for people to buy something, the market always provides a way. And this instrument called call option allows speculators to get more action for their money than it was possible before. These call options are very similar to what we have in the market today. Essentially, a call option allows the holder to buy a certain asset, in this case a tulip bulb, at a fixed price during a specified period. The holder of the call option will be charged an amount called option premium, which could run 15 to 20% of the current market price of the tulip bulb. For example, let's say a tulip bulb is currently worth $100. FYI, I'm using US dollars for simplicity. A call option would cost the buyer approximately $20. If the price of the bulb moves up to $200, the option holder would exercise his or her right. The holder would buy the tulip bulb at $100, and at the same time sell it at the current price of $200. From this transaction, the call option holder essentially nets a profit of $80. $100 appreciation in the tulip bulb minus the $20 he or she paid for the call option. Smart way to make money, right? This person just quadrupled his or her money by using the call option instrument, while an outright buyer would have only doubled his or her money. These call options allowed individuals to leverage their money to increase potential rewards. Of course, this came with significant added risk. And just like many speculative bubbles, the confidence in the bulb started to wane and the dam cracked. The prices on these bulbs got so high that some people decided that it would be smarter just to start selling these bulbs. By the end of the year 1637, prices began to fall and never looked back. A large part of the rapid decline was driven by the fact that many people had purchased bulbs on debit and credit, speculating that they could pay back their loans once they sold their bulbs for a profit. But once the cracks started showing and prices started to drop, holders were forced to liquidate whatever they had at any price. Smithsonian Magazine noted that hundreds who just a few months previously had begun to doubt that there was such a thing as poverty in the land suddenly found themselves the possessors of few bulbs, which nobody would buy, even at price 1/4 of what they paid for. Like a snowball rolling downhill, bulb deflation grew at an alarming rate, and in no time, panic set in. The government tried to step in and say that there was no reason that tulip bulbs should fall in price. But like many good-intentioned government interventions, no one listened. People went bankrupt, and dealers refused to honor their commitments to buy tulip bulbs. Eventually, the price dropped so much that tulip bulbs became almost worthless, selling for no more than a piece of onion. You're probably asking at this point, Tay, cute history lesson, but what's the point? Did you just waste 10 minutes of my life talking about a 400-year-old flower? Stay with me here. I do have a lesson. Spectacular booms are not new. 10 years ago, we saw it with the housing market. 20 years ago, we saw it with the internet bubble. And 400 years ago, we saw it with, of all things, some exotic flowers. The common theme across all of them has been this: greed. Greed has been an essential feature of every spectacular boom in history, and sadly, every spectacular crash. In each case, some very few people have made money, some of the time. However, most emerge with pretty big scars. As in the case of 2008 housing market and the 17th century tulip bulb market, unsustainable prices can persist for several years. However, eventually they reverse themselves, and these reversals aren't gradual. They come with the suddenness of an earthquake. Few nimble individuals are lucky enough to anticipate the change in wind, and are able to escape before everything comes down. But these are rare cases. My takeaway is this: when we see people making spectacular returns through what seems like spectacular investments, like today's NFTs and cryptocurrency, it may feel hard to resist the urge to jump in. I'm not saying there isn't a future for cryptocurrencies or NFTs, because I admit the technologists behind these items are pretty amazing. And I do believe that some of these technologies will have usage in the future. Similar to how a lot of the technologies that drove the dot-com bubble eventually came to grow the internet to what we know today. However, I can't help but have an eerie feeling when I look at how it has recently captured the imagination of the public, as well as having spillover effects to other markets. I can't shake the feeling that it sounds so similar to the madness that captured the public 400 years ago in a small country called Netherlands. Whenever we see cool new items come into the market, it's easy to get swept up in the frenzy. However, let's also look to history to get some wise perspective. Thank you guys for watching. I could be completely wrong here, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. I personally love learning lessons from history, so whenever I encounter something I have a hard time wrapping my head around, I look to history to see if there's something I could reference.